Hey, Mel. Bri here. Gotta work from home today because the whole family caught a nasty...
Daddy!
Hey, Mikey! If you're gonna puke, find the popcorn bowl! But my availability is 110%. Coincidentally, so is my fever. Kidding. Mel, I'm so cold but hot. But I'm gonna get you that budget just as soon as... Mikey! Popcorn bowl!
Press 1 to use Instacart and get your family's sick day essentials delivered in as fast as 30 minutes. Press 2 to keep working. Do not press 2. Just use Instacart, Brian.
Introducing Troy Laser and Fab LLC, your go-to destination for precision laser cutting and steel fabrication services. Our cutting-edge technology and expert team can handle any project for industries ranging from automotive to aerospace. Experience exceptional quality and service with Troy Laser and Fab. Let us deliver high-quality parts on time at a competitive rate. Call 586-510-4570 or online at troylaser.com. That's troylaser.com.
I'm Listening is Odyssey's commitment to mental health conversations. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, depression, anxiety, or mental illness, help is available. Call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. That's 988.
Next week, Michigan's new safe storage gun law will take effect across the state. What does this mean for gun owners, and how are people reacting to the law?
We have to, as a society, do something, because doing nothing is not the answer.
I'm Brian Fisher, and this is the Daily J. In the wake of the school shootings at Oxford High School and Michigan State University, the state passed several new gun laws last year. One of those, a safe storage law, takes effect next week. This law will require gun owners that have homes with minors to keep their guns in a locked container like a safe, or keep them unloaded with a trigger lock or cable. If the owner fails to do this and a minor uses the gun to harm themselves or others, the owner could face prison time and or fines. Sean Holohan, the state legislative director for Giffords, an advocacy group against gun violence, believes that this law will help hold gun owners responsible and keep children safe.
We were involved with a lot of the gun legislation that followed in the wake of Oxford and MSU. Usually what we try to do is just be a research arm or help legislators draft legislation when they come to us with requests. And safe storage, or in this case, what we usually like to call this is child access prevention, is just to really promote responsible gun ownership. That's something that we work on in a lot of our states. I mean, really cutting to the chase, what we try to do is just make sure that bad guys don't have guns, and the people who shouldn't access guns have a hard time getting to them. And this really goes along with that messaging and what we try to do in states. Kids shouldn't have access to a weapon. And after Oxford, there was no real way to hold those parents responsible with the current existing code.
On the other hand, Tom Lambert, the legislative director for Michigan Open Carry, believes that the new laws were nothing but a bait and switch by legislators, as he says Michigan already has laws to convict irresponsible gun owners.
The biggest thing that I would take away from the state storage law is it showed us that the proponents don't understand existing law and don't care. They use these bait and switch tactics to push their agenda, again, an agenda they don't really understand. And what I mean by that is the testimony that we saw in both the House and the Senate from numerous prosecutors in the state was that they already have many existing felonies and misdemeanors that they already use today to go after people who negligently handle their firearms where somebody gets hurt. And in the face of that, we were told that, well, we need these new laws to keep people safe. I'm still today trying to figure out exactly what these bills do for those situations.
While I was working through this episode, the verdict in the trial of Jennifer Crumbley, the mother of the Oxford school shooter, came back guilty on all 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, felonies she was charged with even though that new law didn't exist. And Rick Ector, the founder of Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit, believes the new law is reactive, not proactive.
I am an advocate of being responsible with your firearm. If something bad happens with a gun, yes, the person who owned the gun, the person who is responsible for the gun, yes, ultimately that person bears the ultimate responsibility. but it's not proactive, it's reactive. You're waiting for something bad to happen, and then after the fact, we're saying, well, we don't have time travel invented, so we can go back in history and prevent that firearm from being unsecured. We're going to take a person who, in their worst possible moment, have lost a child, they lost a loved one, some person did something heinous with their property, with their firearm, and then say, well, that person is already grieving. They possibly lost a son, lost a daughter. Let's now throw them in prison and fine them like $10,000.
But Sean views it differently. He believes if the law was in the books, it may have deterred the shooting from the start.
As you can see, the mother was charged with involuntary manslaughter. She wasn't charged with, improperly keeping a weapon in the home with a minor present. And that's because that law wasn't on the books when Oxford shooting happened. Now, I don't want to punish parents who have done the right thing and a kid has figured out a way to access a safe, but there are ways for us to tell if someone has acted irresponsibly, and that's what we have a criminal justice system for. Unfortunately, one of the only ways to ensure that people do act responsibly is to set a law and to ensure that people understand that there are consequences if they leave a weapon out unattended with a minor in the home. So it's an unfortunate situation what happened in Oxford, and it's unfortunate that the mother of this student had to be charged with involuntary manslaughter because this law wasn't on the books at the time.
So from what I'm understanding, what I'm inferring from what you're saying, it sounds like if this law were in the books back then, it could have acted as a deterrent to prevent this from happening.
That's correct.
Tom, however, adds that each situation of gun mismanagement is different and that painting every instance with the same brush hurts everyone.
What needs to happen is effectively what existing law is today, is we do a case-by-case analysis. We look at what happened. How did we get there? Did the person truly act negligently? And a lot of times that's left to the jury to decide, as it should be. What you end up with under these new laws is more of a strict liability. As soon as a minor gets the firearm and does something with it, even just as simple as possessing in public or effectively outside the home, all of a sudden criminal prohibitions start to apply. No matter how reasonable you could have acted in the circumstances, criminal prohibitions start to apply. If you don't follow the exact means of storage that the law wants you to follow, you start to have liability. So we end up with this one-size-fits-all situation. And typical of a one-size-fits-all solution, it's a one-size-fits-nobody solution.
Opinions on the new safe storage law are incredibly varied. And regardless if this law will work or not, Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson believes lawmakers had to try something.
People sometimes are critical of laws, saying, well, that only applies to the people that follow them. But we have to, as a society, do something. And that's where the laws come in. And that's why you have state legislators and federal legislators, because doing nothing is not the answer. And whether it could have prevented or could not have prevented, I don't know. But I do know there's a reason and a responsibility that legislators have, and ultimately executive leaders to sign them into law, to say that there's accountability for not following some of these common sense ideals, and that is keeping your gun safe.
If not this law, what else could have been done? Well, Rick believes education is the first step towards responsible ownership.
I like where their heart is. I just don't really know if I agree with how they chose to go about it. With regards to safe storage, I think I would like it better if we were more proactive on the front end in terms of dealing with children and firearms. I would much rather invest the education in the school systems where we teach fundamental firearm safety to children, such as Eddie Eagle program, stop, don't touch, leave the area, tell a responsible adult, and grow them up with a healthy appreciation for firearms, know what they're capable of, to sit around and not do anything and wait until something bad happens and then try to exact your pound of flesh. It seems like a missed opportunity to do something very powerful and very proactive on the front end.
With or without the law, Sheriff Swanson thinks safely storing your guns is what gun owners should be doing regardless.
it's what should be done in any gun owning responsible family or individual is to always keep your firearms safe, especially from kids, anybody under the age of 18, or anybody who doesn't have a good working knowledge of a firearm. That's why there's hunter safety. That's why there's safety classes and CPL classes. So that's what it's there to protect.
Responsible gun ownership was the overarching theme that kind of presented itself as I worked through this episode. And it's what Sheriff Swanson wants to emphasize. Here he is one last time.
For this particular one, I think it's important that we all realize that gun responsibility is the title. I don't use gun control. I don't use gun rights. Gun responsibility, because even responsible gun owners want gun responsibility. And I think that is something we all need to focus on is we are a state that is a hunting and fishing state, a defense state, CPL state. So let's all be responsible with the firearms and do our best to save lives.
Whether or not you agree with the new law is your decision to make, but everyone does seem to agree on the importance of being a responsible gun owner. Thanks to Sheriff Chris Swanson, Tom Lambert, Rick Ector, and Sean Holohan for lending their expertise to this episode. And as always, this podcast wouldn't be possible without WWJ's digital team. Check out WWJNewsRadio.com for the top local news stories on demand 24/7. Make sure you don't miss out on new episodes of The Daily J by subscribing using the Odyssey app or get them wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Brian Fisher, and this is The Daily J. Thanks for listening.
Here's how better sleep helps you get a great night's rest. Picture this. You drift into dreamland with custom soundscapes scientifically proven to help you doze off. While you're resting, our sleep recorder pinpoints disturbances that might be waking you up. And in the morning, our peaceful alarm gently wakes you up when you're most likely to feel refreshed. Download Better Sleep for peaceful nights and bright sunny mornings.
Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks, and placing some super bets. FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W, or 2, or 3. Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for which player will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. New customers, join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/sportsfan to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/sportsfan. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in Michigan. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help.
Introducing Troy Laser and Fab LLC, your go-to destination for precision laser cutting and steel fabrication services. Our cutting-edge technology and expert team can handle any project for industries ranging from automotive to aerospace. Experience exceptional quality and service with Troy Laser and Fab. Let us deliver high-quality parts on time at a competitive rate. Call 586-510-4570 or online at troylaser.com. That's troylaser.com.